Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is David Novak. That slavery was on the road to its ultimate extinction, we know from our readings of the Civil War. Voices such as Lincoln, among others, believed it to be so. The South believed the only way to alter that inevitability was to expand slavery into the free states and into the projected states such as Cuba and other areas in the Caribbean, I suppose. Galbraith touches on the topic in his chapter on motivation, and he seems to support the standard view. What he writes is worth reading. Let me just give you some of that. The diminishing role of compulsion in pecuniary compensation has been a force of no small historical importance. Among other things, it goes far to explain the disappearance of slavery itself. Until 2 centuries ago, the motivation of the wage laborer in most parts of the world was not radically different from that of the bondsman. Both got little, both toiled in fear of the alternative. The slave, accordingly, had no reason to regard the free wage worker with much envy. He did not press aggressively to change his position, nor did society on his behalf. But as the wage worker improved his material position, the element of compulsion to which he was subject diminished. Then the contrast between free man and slave deepened, and slavery became untenable. In the absence of the Civil War, slavery in the United States could have lasted only a few more years. For in a relatively short time, industrialization and rising standards in the North, together with improving communications, would have made it increasingly difficult to keep the slaves in the fields. And the cost of patrols and the machinery for redeeming fugitives, together with the capital loss from those who made good their escape into northern employments, would have been intolerable. Planters would have been forced to pay inducements, i.e. wages, to hold their men, as in other countries at a roughly similar stage in economic development, slavery would have been given up. The reform would have been attributed to the innate humanity of man to man. By 1880 or 1890 at the latest, the more respected philosophers would have been congratulating the nation on having accomplished peacefully what men once feared could only have been done by war. As it is wrong to deny the role of conscience in human affairs, it is also an error to minimize that of economics. Speaking to the same subject, when bondsmen were still valuable property, Adam Smith observed, "The late resolution of the Quakers in Pennsylvania to set at liberty their Negro slaves may satisfy us that their number cannot be very great." In the next chapter, also dealing with motivation, Galbraith touches on Smith and segues into an interesting footnote. It is worth recalling, however, that the commitment to force was once equally strong. The classical economists writing in the late 18th and early 19th centuries felt it necessary to enlarge at length on the advantages of free over slave labor. It was not what the sound and practical citizen could yet be expected to believe, or what the colonial plantation owner could even contemplate. And here's the footnote. Adam Smith resorted to egregious exaggeration in making the point. Quote, "The experience of all ages and nations, I believe, demonstrates that the work done by slaves, though it appears to cost only their maintenance, is in the end the dearest of any," unquote. Wealth of Nations, Book 3, New York Modern Library, 1937, chapter 2, page 365. This is wholly untrue. In their time and for their mainly agricultural tasks, they were more economical than any alternative supply of free labor. I am finding Galbraith's insights, his parsing of the various types of motivation to be interesting and probably merits multiple rereadings. So it goes with John Kenneth Galbraith. Thank you for stopping by my channel.